welcome to the Rebel Rebel. In this episode, I chat with Charlie Picerni, one of the founding members of Stunts Unlimited. He's been blown up, rolled cars, jumped out of helicopters, has punched Batman in the face, has been punched by Batman in the face, and is responsible for dropping Hans Gruber off the Nakatomi Tower, as well as showing John McClane how to fight. This episode of the Rebel Rebel is brought to you by Manscaped.com. I was one of the first people to receive the Lawnmower 4.0 recently, and they asked me to do a review. So here it is. I love this thing. I love it so much, I bought the company. Just kidding. I just bought some more stuff because it's really high quality and just fantastically designed grooming equipment. I used to shave my face with one of those, 6-blade razor with the lubricating strip. I even tried, with a straight razor. So recently I decided to get the Plow Safety Razor, and it's freaking perfect. Fill all your manscaping needs at manscaped.com and use the code REBEL to save 20% and also get free shipping. I'm your host, Michael Dargy. Please welcome Charlie Picerni to the Rebel Rebel. So just to introduce everybody to you, this is Charlie Picerni, and he is one of the founding members of Stunts Unlimited.
That's right.
And still to this day, you are doing stunts.
Yes, and then talking about the founding members, there's only two of us left of the founding members, myself and Buddy Joe Hooker, who's one of the best stuntmen around.
Wow. Well, so Charlie, take us back in time to those days, like how you got involved.
Well, how I got involved was going back to New York. My father died. I was like 3.5 years old. My brother was 14 years older than me. He was like 17 when my father died, just to give you a brief summary of how I got started.
Yeah.
My father was a real disciplined guy. He died young at 44. He had some kind of a gas thing in World War I, and he eventually died from that with tuberculosis. My mother was left with 5 kids, my brother being the oldest, me the fourth of the 5. I was like 3.5 years old. So she was stuck with a tough job. And besides the 5 kids, she raised 5 sisters and brothers as a sewing machine operator.
Oh my God.
So my brother graduated college. He went to the Air Force after my father died, was a first lieutenant, bombardier. Then he went to California, majored in dramatics, graduated Loyola College, and became very successful. Me, I started to drift off the other way because my mother didn't have time to control me. But I had so much love for my mother that I never got in trouble, like stealing or stuff like that. A lot of fights and things and all that in those days. But I was basically I had a lot of respect and love for her because I know the whole town knew her. My brother was an actor, and they had a lot of respect for her, and I didn't want to destroy her, her character, what she was. So she saw me going the other way, and I was working for one of the biggest bookmakers in New York. My first wife, my girlfriend at that time, her godfather controlled all of Queens, one of the boroughs in New York.
Oh my God.
Because her father was his partner, and her father died at 30 years old. So he took care of the family. I, at that point, was part of the family. So he took care of me. I was working as in the office with these guys taking bets and all that. Besides doing construction work and loading boxcars in Long Island City, landscaping, I did everything.
Wow.
Construction work. So I didn't know where I was going. I just about made high school, so I was drifting off. And when this came up, I was making like over $2,000 in the early 60s for this guy. He'd buy me car tires. He just took care of me.
Yeah.
She saw that, and she had a meeting with him, and she kept pushing me to go with my brother to California. So at that point, I was about 24 years old, and I had just gotten married, and a lot of adversities in my life would happen with my friends and things like that. So I decided I'll go out there. Not to stay there. I was going to go out and just take a trip and come back to my friends and my gang, which we had in the town.
Yeah.
And live there and work construction and raise a family and go hunting with my friends and have fun. So anyway, I take a trip out there. I get in my brother takes me out. He gives me all the information of what I should do. Really a smart guy. He just passed away 5 years ago, and I miss him tremendously. But anyway, he was a really good actor, Paul. I don't know if you know his career or not, but he was a really good actor. And he was on a show called The Untouchables when I went out there. He was second lead. And this is the second season of the show. So I get out there July 4th, 1961. And I remember the fireworks going off over the San Fernando Valley. And I get him, I meet him there, and he takes me over the Sepulveda Pass, and he tells me all the things I should know about the business. 3 things are very important. I'll tell you those.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, what the hell? I'm listening to him. He says he's going to be a stuntman. I don't know what a stuntman was. I mean, I did things in New York that stuntmen don't do today. Real shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. So anyway, he gave me a briefing, and the next day he got me in the guild. And at that time, there were two guilds, Screen Extras Guild and Screen Actors Guild. I got in both because he had a lot of contacts and stuff. And in those days, it was a lot easier to get in, not as it is like now.
Yeah.
I got in the guild the second day, and the third day I was working on the Untouchables.
Wow.
And I got on the set and I met all the people, all the actors and the directors and the producers, and I liked it. And from that point on, I fell into something that I really enjoyed. I was lucky.
Wow.
And it was an action-oriented show, the Untouchables, a lot of shootouts and I start learning how to work with the camera. Right. And three things he told me, which I mentioned before. Three things were: always be on time.
Yeah.
Stay near the camera, and I'll define that for you. Third was make friends with everybody in the crew, and I'll define that for you. And also he said the fourth thing was stay near Victor Paul. He was a little stand-in guy on the show, and he was really my good best friend for all of his life, and he died not long ago. We became very close. The only friend that I really got in California. Those four things, and I did that. What he meant by staying near the camera was that when you're standing in and you're by the camera, even if you're not standing in, you learn everything about the motion picture business.
Right.
The actors are by the camera, the director's by the camera giving direction, wardrobe, props, grips, electricians, you name it. Makeup, they're all there. Yeah. So all you do, and if you're just observing, and if you can't learn anything, you might as well just give up.
Right.
You have to absorb it. And I just listened, and I was a good listener. I learned everything about it.
Wow.
So that's how I got into business. And I went back to New York occasionally to work, but I never went back to live there. I did a TV show back there for 13 shows about 1965, but I never went back to New York to live. I always stayed in California. And being near the camera is so important. I try to emphasize that to kids today.
Yeah.
What I'm saying near the camera. Talking to each person in the crew, that person will go off to different shows and make friends with them, and they'll be prop people, wardrobe people. They're in a meeting, they'll mention your name, and you get work that way. They're like your agents. That's what he meant by that. So I did that for years, and I still do that. And it was so important, those three things that he mentioned to me. Being near the camera like that, Robert Stack was the highest paid actor in the business at that point. 13 or 14 years later, I was directing him in a TV show. That's how much I learned by staying near the camera.
Wow.
I knew technically how to put it together, and I did about 60 TV shows after that, directing first unit. So I got better and better as I went along.
Yeah.
And anyway, your point was good.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess I'm just sort of, going from, being a stunt person, like somebody who's just actually doing the stunts, or even just a stand-in, to a stunt man, to a stunt coordinator, to a second unit director, to first unit director, learning all along the way. I mean, and I guess where I'm going with this is one of the things I've always loved about, following you and talking with you is how much you give back or invite people in to learn from you as well. It's kind of like you're paying it forward. So I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us about this and, give us some insight as well. What is your, because I've seen you blown up. I've seen you get hit by cars. I've seen you fly off buildings. I've seen you get punched, I want to say, by Batman.
Everybody. I did 30 Batman shows, more than any other stuntman, besides the two guys that doubled Batman and Robin. And because my friend Victor, who I mentioned before, was doubling Robin, he would hire me all the time. So I did a lot of Batman shows.
That's awesome. And I guess, with a career as large as yours, there certainly has to be some really great memories. But let's take it from stunt performer. Like, what's your favorite stunt? What was your favorite thing to do?
Well, people say that my favorite stunt, Michael, there's so many that I did. And people say, what is the most difficult stunt you've done? There are so many. I can't even,
which one did you have the most fun with?
I can go back to Magnum PI. I did a stunt that people won't do today, and I don't care. It's very difficult. It's a daredevil stunt. I come out of it. My nephew was flying a helicopter. It's a quick story. It was a TV show that Aaron Spelling was going to do. It was a pilot that we're going to do in Hawaii. Yeah. And at that point, Hawaii Five-0 was just finishing. So all the studios wanted to get there and do a TV show. So Aaron Spelling came up with a show called Waikiki, a pilot in Hawaii. Darren McGavin and a couple of actors, I forget their name. I was there to coordinate and do second unit. So the shot was a helicopter, my nephew. Now, what happened was when the production manager, and this is what happened on Twilight Zone, which like I mentioned to you later, the Twilight movie, you know?
Yeah.
When Vic Morrow got killed, I wanted to bring my nephew there to fly the helicopter because I had a very difficult stunt to do with a helicopter. And I'll explain that to you. Yeah. He said, no, we got a helicopter pilot there. I said, well, I want to bring my nephew because he's really good. He said, no, we got somebody there. In the meantime, I had 5 stunt guys to bring over as playing bad guys. So I said, you know what? I'm going to play it safe and bring my nephew over. Yeah. So I brought my nephew, Chuck Tamburo, who's one of the best in the business. He did all the stuff with Jim Cameron, True Lies, all that stuff. The guy is an ex-Vietnam pilot. He knows what he's doing. I'm going to cover myself.
Yeah.
I've been in the street too long not to cover myself.
Yeah.
So I bring him over, and the shot was a helicopter chasing a station wagon with the good guy in the helicopter. Bad guy has a girl hostage. Donna Mills was the actress, and with a helicopter chasing him, a Jeep in back of the station wagon chasing him. So it's a big chase through the cane fields of Kauai. And at one point, a cane hauler comes out to block the station wagon, and the station wagon goes around it. The helicopter goes above it. The station wagon crashes into a ditch. The good guy gets the girl out, and the bad guy runs along the ditch. I'm in the helicopter doubling this act, and I'm 250 feet up.
Yeah.
I see the altimeter. No cables. I get out of the helicopter and get underneath. Okay? My nephew takes me down. I'm 15 feet off the ground. I bulldog, jump off, and bulldog is another word. And I hit the bad guy, and we do a fight. So that was all the shot.
Oh, my God.
Now, prior to that, when I'm there, he's going to use the helicopter pilot from Hawaii to save money. Yeah. So I'm in the cane field with the helicopter hovering and idling, and my nephew is with me and the pilot, and there's an effects guy in back of right by the rotor with his son. I don't know what the guy did, the pilot, but he reached in, and the helicopter just spun around like that, knocked me off my feet and my nephew, went into the cane field, and I just started crawling. Oh. The guy shut it off. It almost took off the heads of the effects guy.
Wow.
And from that point on, I said, that's it. So my nephew flew the helicopter doing the stunt that I just said to you. Yeah. But I came down, and I had a pipe underneath the skids that I came out 250 feet and hung on, and he took me down. That was a little scary. And I can mention a few more. No. Today, it's scary when I think about it. Yeah. Then I didn't think anything of it. I just had the strength. I can hold on with one hand if I had to. Right. I just had that confidence. So that was a little tough, and we did it, and it worked out great. And it was a tough one, but my nephew, brought me through. But what happened was before that, rehearsing, I said, Chuck, take me up in the helicopter, and let me see the height I'm going to drop off. This is true. Yeah. And I didn't have a lot of communication. We didn't have then like now. Right. Round guys and all that. So I'm there, and he thinks I jumped off. Oh. He takes off. And I'm on the skids, and he takes off, and I feel the G's. Oh, these kids don't know I'm on the helicopter yet. So he levels off, and I pull myself up. I get in the side cockpit, and I say, Chuck, I'm still here. He jumped back. That happened. But these are things I did. Another tough one I did, there's so many, I go on and on. Jumping cars in the water, getting trapped in the water, fire. I got trapped in fire one time. Oh, man. But those are the ones that stand out. Another one that stands out, I was doing a show, Starsky and Hutch. It was a 2-hour pilot from Hawaii. And the first shot is the boat takes off. We're on a cruise ship. It takes off, and we're going to film on the cruise ship all the way to San Francisco. Yeah. And then shoot in L.A. So the first shot is I'm doubling an actor named Jose Ferrar. You remember him? Yeah. As the ship takes off, we're 3 miles out to sea. I'm in a cruiser, about 40-foot cruiser boat, and we go alongside, and there's a rope ladder, and I'm going to go make a transfer from the boat to the rope ladder, okay, and then climb up. Yeah. Well, the swells were about 30 feet high. I'm not a great swimmer. I didn't have any protection on, no wet. And then you say, what a stupid guy. No wetsuit, nothing on. Oh, man. And I'm reaching for it, and it goes down, and I'm trying to get the timing of it. And the guy in the boat says, you got to go, you got to go. So all of a sudden I see it come down and I reach up and I grab it.
Yeah.
And I pull myself and I go, well, it's fine. Once I get a hold on it, I know I'm in. But God forbid, if I would have fell off, the way those swells were and out in the ocean, and by the time that guy turned around, I'm gone. I would have been gone. So that was a stunt that was, I did it, but when I look back, I say, wow, that was dumb.
Yeah. Wow.
But you learn as you go along. It's like anything else. Like I said, when you're directing TV, it's a ground for directing features. And I did 27 years of television. So I learned so much. Same thing with stunt work. As you go along, you learn what not to do. When I'm on a set, I watch directors work. I learn from everybody what not to do, what to do.
Yeah.
And that's how you improve, by watching, observation. You don't have to go to film school. Film school is great. Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
But you learn so much more by being on the set and watching. Granted, today, kids don't have a chance to go on a set like I did, because in those days, if you knew the guard at the gate on all the studios, I knew them all. I'd get on, we'll have lunch at the studios, go on the set, and you'd be able to watch everything. Right. Today, the kids, they can't get on unless they're working.
Huh. Question for you.
So that's the change, but it's still basically the same. When you get on the set, get near the camera and watch and learn. Don't talk about your stunts and carry a stunt bag, which you'll never use.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't capture it. They don't get it. Stay near the camera. All they want to do is stunt. So by the time you're 40, 45 years old, they'll look at the young guys and you're gone.
Yeah.
You got to reach different goals. If you don't reach a different goal, you'll never survive.
Yeah, right.
You get an early retirement. Today, a lot of guys are taking early retirement. I never thought about retiring. People say, when are you going to retire? I said, when I got in this business, all the work that I did in New York and the stuff that I did, the first day I got in this business is the day I retired. What's better than that?
Right.
You travel, you make money, you go in the best hotels, you get per diem, you eat for nothing. Come on. What does that retire from? Factory, you're punching every day? You're going to work every day? No.
Yeah.
So
amazing.
These are the things that, and to improve, you improve in your stunt work, whether you're directing, you move up and you learn as you go along. I worked on a thing called Fantasy Island.
Yeah, I know it.
Ricardo Montalban was one of the best friends that actors ever met. You meet good guys and bad guys. He was a good guy. And I can go with the good guys and bad guys if you want later on. Yeah. Some are just jerks and some aren't. Ricardo Montalban was a man. He was a good guy. And we sat down one time at Fantasy Island and we were talking to the director's chairs. And we were just discussing just everyday stuff. And he says, you have to reach different goals in your life. And people know this. You reach one goal, you have to go on to the next. Otherwise, you'll get bored with that. So if I did just stuntman and nothing else, what would I have?
Right.
I get bored with doing that shit. Stunt coordinator is the next goal.
Right.
That's boring after a while to me because I'm creative.
Right.
So now I want to do second unit. It's another goal.
Yeah.
Now I want to do directing. That's another. And my career was going great that way. Yeah. And now I'm reaching my goals, and you're learning as you're going along. So I said, okay, now I'm in the 80s, and I was doing nothing but television. Yeah. Some stunt work, but a lot of TV. Did all my shows then, Magnum PI, and Hardcastle McCormick, Charlie's Angels, Starsky and Hutch. And I said, now I want to do 5 years of directing television. Now I want to go into features. There I was. There was a big meeting for Die Hard 1. Right. All the stunt guys in town were at the meeting. I went for the audition. I went in. I met John McTiernan, one of the finest directors I've ever worked with. One of the best. Yeah. And I start discussing, it's an interview, and I start discussing not the stunt work, but I start discussing the characters because I knew about that. Right. What I learned from staying near the camera. Right. I used to work with Telly Savalas doing offstage dialogue, Jimmy Kahn, a lot of great actors in that show. Lee Marvin. I would do offstage dialogue with them. I would get into the story. So I started talking to John about the characters in the movie and what he wanted, what his vision was. He said, yeah, when the terrorists come into this movie, I want the action to move. I said, okay, John, I got it. He liked me. I got the show. So my career, my goals were moving. Now I'm doing coordinating on Die Hard 1. Wow. Now Die Hard 2 comes. Yeah. A couple of movies in between that, Roadhouse and things like that. And Die Hard 2, I started directing second unit, big. big second unit. I don't mean just a car coming around the corner.
Yeah.
I mean 70 days of second unit with actors, with stunt people, with everything you could imagine. 200 people in my crew, and here I am. My goal is now going up.
Yeah.
Joel Silver, who was a producer at the time, says, I'm going to give you a movie to direct. Now I'm moving up.
Wow.
Looking good, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I do Die Hard 2 and a few movies in between. It was Roadhouse and Christmas Vacation, you know.
Yeah.
But I was moving up and doing second unit on all of them. And now we're in Rome doing Hudson Hawk.
Oh, I was hoping we'd talk about Hudson Hawk. I love that movie.
It was a fun movie, but a lot of people didn't like it. It's like a cult movie. People liked it.
Yeah.
So doing Hudson Hawk, and Joel said, you're going to direct the next movie for me in L.A. called Ricochet with Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington, nobody even knew him then.
Yeah.
They didn't know who he was. I said, great. It was called Ricochet. So now I get the script, and we're going to go back to L.A. and shoot it. And I said, great, Joel, it needs a little work, but I appreciate it. It'd be great. Yeah. Now I'm going to direct. Moving up, right, Michael?
Yeah.
Doesn't work out. Tragedy happens. That time, my wife left in New York. She didn't like California. I was with her 14 years in California. She didn't like it, so she moved out. And we had a great marriage, but we kind of drifted off.
Yeah.
I'm married to my second wife now.
Yeah.
I come back from Hudson Hawk in Budapest. She would come every month to see me. I come back, and she gets killed in a car accident. She was 35 years old.
Oh,
beautiful girl. And she was coming back from the Bel Air Hotel, and she goes on Sunset Boulevard. That's another story. I could go with that. So that was the end of my traverse going up, you know. Yeah. It just stopped. I kept directing. I kept directing second unit and coordinating for Joel. My brother came with me, and he read the script. I said, Paul, just read the scripts and I'll handle it. And I did it off just instinct. Yeah. Because Joel, he was panicked. He's a movie producer. How are you going to work for me? Because he wanted me. How are you going to do this? He was saying, I can't believe she's dead. And it's 30 years now.
Wow.
And I said, Joel, I'll handle it. And I did. So that was my stop. I stopped there. But I didn't stop completely, because then I started writing a script, which I have now. It's called Spaghetti Park, and I'm going to try and get the financing for it, which I'm working on now. Hopefully I'll get us a movie about me before I went to California, all the stuff that happened to me in New York.
Very cool.
And I get on a plane, and that's the end of it. Then I'll do the sequel if I get the money. So anyway, these are things that happen in life. So you move up by reaching different goals.
Yeah, amazing. You talked earlier about sort of people that have influenced you. What are some of the other great influences you've had in your career?
Great influences. My brother was the biggest influence. Telly Savalas was another influence. Telly Savalas was one of the greatest guys I've ever met. Yeah, Telly Savalas had an influence on me. Telly was the kind of guy where he just wanted to know the facts. If you had a problem, say, tell me the facts and I'll handle it. And he did.
Wow.
So he had an influence on me. Joel Silver, in a different way, had an influence on me because he had a lot of confidence in me, and he wouldn't do his show without me. I did 10, 11 movies with him.
Wow.
From Demolition Man to Hudson Hawk to Last Boy Scout with Tony Scott. I did a lot of movies with him. Lethal Weapon 2 and 3 with Dick Donner. So these people had influence on me. They all, and I knew Dick Donner from TV when he was doing the Streets of San Francisco and Kojak.
Yeah.
And you work with different directors. Joel was the kind of guy, he liked to have control over things. So a lot of times he'd use young directors that didn't really know how to put a big movie together, but he had control over it. Yeah. Then he would hire guys like Tony Scott, who did have control over the movie. So I worked with Tony and I watched him. He was an amazing guy. He was an amazing guy. You know Tony Scott.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing guy. He was different. And guys today, directors today, are still following his format of how to do movies. It's colorization, his the way he moved cameras, the way he worked. Yeah. So I learned a lot from Tony. And Dick Donner. Dick was great with actors. He had a lot of fun on the set with him. Yeah. So these people had a lot of influence on my career. Who else? Guys like Mike in television. I did 27 years of television. So guys like Mike Connors on Mannix, if you remember that show.
No.
Mike Connors was a great guy. We did a show called Mannix. Look it up. In 8 years. Anyway. He had an influence on me. There are so many that I can go on.
Yeah, I imagine. I mean, because you've been doing this your entire life. Like, what a career.
Yeah.
And I
look back now and I say, yeah, you're right. What a career.
I mean, what a retirement is what I meant to say.
Not even retirement. I'm still working. I'm still working.
But it's kind of like a retirement, right?
I turned the car over. Probably, I just did a stunt. I turned the car over, not recently, but about 2 years ago.
Oh, man.
I did a car turnover, which I'm still doing, But anyway, my main focus now is I still work because I got to get on the set. I got to be on the set no matter what. So people call me and I will work.
Yeah.
And if I get a job to coordinate, I'll do it. But my main focus now is to try and get my script going. And I'm not looking for a lot of money. I'm just looking for, low budget, but I can do it because I know how to put movies together.
Yeah. Well,
a lot of money that's wasted in making a film. Wasted, completely wasted.
Yeah.
And why, I don't know, because I think for one thing, I think that the creative people of the motion picture business are gone. And now it's mostly people that come in and they really don't know how to shoot a movie. They get it done.
Yeah.
They get it done with the cameraman helping the director or whatever it may be. They'll get it done. But we lost the creative end of it, I think. There's some people left, but not like it used to be. The MGM people, the Warner Brothers people, and they were old vaudeville, motion from the 40s or 50s, but they knew how to make movies. Today it's just making money, how to make money.
Is it more like creative problem solving, Charlie?
Huh?
Like, is it like creative problem solving? Is that what's missing, or finding new ways to do things? Like what do you mean?
I think just knowing how to make movies. I think they have a different concept of how to make movies, and you could see the quality of the movies today. They're not like they used to be. I mean, there's so many things involved. A lot of kids like the Fast and Furious stuff and the computerized stuff, the CGI stuff. They're on computers all the time, so they like that. My movie is a real movie. Now, I can do any kind of movie you give me.
Yeah.
My movie is a real movie. It's about people.
Right. It's character.
Got a message. It's about coming of age people, young kids in the 60s. A lot of things that people can relate to today, but it's not a computer. It's real. Yeah. I'm not a writer, but I know what I'm writing about. I wrote about me and what happened to me. And my wife helped me with the dramatic scenes. And that's why I put it together. I structured it right. And if you read it, it's a pretty good script. So a lot of things happened to me. And but I say it's a coming of age movie by young people. There's Latin dancing in it, which is happening today. It's that kind of a movie that kids today can relate to. It's a message. The main thing, there's mafia guys in it, but it's not a mafia movie.
Yeah. It's
like if you want to compare it to a movie like Bronx Tale, it's kind of like that, but only I think it's even a little better because it's a mother and son, and it's more, it's true. It's a 95% true movie.
Oh, that's great.
So these are things that the kind of movies I like to do. But the kids are into the commercial type movies, Fast and Furious. I worked on 3 Fast and Furious movies. So it's a whole different type of movie.
Yeah.
You have to do it all. I can do any movie. You give it to me, I'll do it.
Yeah.
You got computerized stuff. All you do is get guys that know about CGI. You know what you want. If I want to talk to you and have a rocket come through the window, here's what I want, guys. You got it.
Yeah.
Let them do that. I put it in the movie.
Yeah.
Today they got movies that you have like sometimes 4 coordinators, even on TV. You got a stunt coordinator, then a fight coordinator, do one punch. You got underwater. I did movies like Van Damme movies in France and Italy, where I coordinated only me. I did aerial stuff, guys flying on a car, going out and doing a fight and falling off, and underwater stuff and fight stuff and car chases. I did it all.
Wow. Now
you got guys you got 5 different coordinators. Now, granted, I understand it's a big budget movie and they travel a lot all over. So you got a coordinator here, a coordinator there, and it's fine, but don't need it with me.
That's awesome.
TV. You get on a TV show, I'm telling you, like I said before, one punch. You got a stunt coordinator and a fight coordinator. For what? I know all. I could do fights. I know enough about martial arts.
Yeah.
To do a martial arts fight, I just get the guys in that can execute it, but I can lay it out.
Yeah, yeah.
I did 4 fights with Bruce Lee.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 4 fights. Enter the Dragon, Batman, and Green Hornet. So I know every martial arts guy in the business. I've worked with them.
Wow.
I can put it together.
Yeah.
Give me the talent and I'll put it together. Just like a director does. He can't act, but the director gets a good act and he puts it together. Same thing with doing a fight.
Yeah.
You have to know about it. I know about it.
Yeah.
I had more fights than you can imagine when I was a kid. And that's another thing that I put into a movie. If you want to get questions, then you better stop me.
I'm just enjoying the moment. I've got no agenda.
What I put into movies is my experience of what happened to me in my life.
Yeah.
Like when I did Lethal Weapon, I revert back. I don't just do a movie fight.
Yeah.
Grab a guy by the neck, turn him around, but no, that's all bullshit. When I do something, I revert back to what happened to me. And I did a lot of things in my life. I'm not proud of some of the stuff that I did, but I did them. When I was a kid growing up, I did them. So I have to admit it.
Yeah.
We used to go to dances a lot and fights and everything.
Yeah.
Lethal Weapon 2, I believe, was about South Africans. And Mel Gibson was at a point where he had a dislocated shoulder and he's like, hit it to get it back in shape again. So they're going to kill him.
Yeah.
And they're going to throw him in the San Pedro Bay. They throw him in the bay with a straitjacket on. He goes down, and what he sees on the bottom of the pier is his wife. Right. They killed her. Beautiful little blonde. She's dead. Yeah. He goes crazy. He gets out of the straitjacket, comes out of the water, comes up on the dock, and there are the two guys in the parking lot that killed his wife.
Yeah.
Now, what do you do with that? Put yourself in that position.
Yeah.
Not just a movie fight, because it doesn't work.
Right.
It doesn't work. You got to revert back to something you did in your life. And this is where you have experience, and that shit comes in.
Wow.
I went back to Jamaica, New York when I was a kid, and we had a big fight. And I got this guy. It was a big gang fight. That's all we did then. And again, I'm not proud of it, but this is what I did and what I put into the movie. I incorporated this shit in the movie.
Yeah.
So I got this one guy. I opened the car door. First of all, I threw his head through the window. This is what I did. And what I had Mel Gibson do. Went through the window, opened the door, threw his head in, and jammed his head with the door.
Yeah.
He might still be there laying down, skeleton. Jammed him up. Then the other guy got a chain around his neck and broke his neck.
Yeah.
That was the basic fight. And I did something like that. You want to call me a crazy kid? Yeah, maybe I was. But, that's how we fought that. Anyway, it worked. But those are the things that I did. The same thing with Die Hard. Well, what would Bruce Willis do in a building with the terrorists chasing him? Right. What would he do? Yeah, the guy who does martial arts, he's got to do some kind of a different combat.
Yeah, and walking on that glass.
Street fighting. Put street fighting in anything. When you fight, when you have a fight with a guy, it's not the bullshit thing with, okay, put your hands up. You're going to use anything you can to win. I don't care if it's a cup or a stick on the floor or a chair and a bar or whatever it may be. You're going to fight to win. And you use anything to make that fight. You're not going to walk out with a guy with martial arts. You're going to do something. Yeah. To combat that. Anyway. Well, these are things that I incorporated in my life. I incorporated that in a movie.
So I want to touch on Die Hard for a second here, because it's it's really kind of the quintessential movie. Certainly one of the ones that we watch every Christmas. It's our Christmas movie. Yeah, right. And but I want to ask a couple things. I mean, first off, this was sort of like Bruce Willis was not the anti-hero, but he wasn't. He was just a cop, just a regular old-fashioned run-of-the-mill cop who ends up thrust into this.
A tough cop.
Yeah, tough cop who just got stuff done. And how involved was Bruce Willis in this? How involved was Bruce Willis in the stuff that you were creating for his character? Bruce Willis is a good actor, so good actors get involved in everything. Yeah, they get involved in everything. Now, he's not the type of guy, and I've worked with so many different actors. He's not the type of guy like Patrick Swayze or Tom Cruise. They like to do physically their own stunts. Bruce liked it, but he had a stopping point. He wouldn't do a lot of things. Fair. But Bruce was good. He had a lot of input in it. But what he did was, and a lot of actors, many of them, most of them, when I laid out the fight with him, he didn't question it, because he knew that was what he would do with his character. Again, back to what I did with Story. When we did that fight, the first fight with Bruce, the big fight with the terrorist, Alexander Gutenov. Yeah. Well, they were on the top of the Fox Plaza building shooting, the first unit. Yeah. I was on the floor down below rehearsing the fight for about 3 or 4 days. And I had a kid named Ki Johnson doubling Bruce and a kid named Don McGovern doubling Alexander Gutenov. And I worked out the whole fight with them, what to do. And I knew every move. I worked at every single move with them. Yeah. And they were pretty good with it.
So now Joel Silver and Larry Gordon come down and they want to watch the whole crew, McTiernan, Bruce Willis, they want to watch the fight that I choreographed.
Yeah.
That's when I said, okay, to the two guys. I said, I want you guys to do this like it's full speed. Don't hold anything back. Because Joel sees something, he puts it in his head, and this is what he wants.
Yeah.
Give me a full speed rehearsal. Okay, we all watch back. Okay, guys, go. And they were going half-assed. So I said, hold, stop right there. I stopped him. I said, P.I., let me do Bruce, and you watch me. So I said to Don McGovern, I said, Don, get ready for a real fight, because I'm going to rough you up a lot. We're going to just go for it.
Yeah.
We're going to go for it. There's pipes and shit all around. So I did that. I rehearsed the whole fight, and even the part where I said, you asshole, and I hit him, dialogue, everything. And Joel Silver was ecstatic. He said, you're going to double Bruce. You're going to double Bruce. That was it. That's what I want. I said, Joel, I'm not going to double Bruce. Cut my hair. I said, Key, I'll do it. It'll be fine. And that's the way we did it. But the point is that when we did that, Bruce watched me, and he did everything that I did. He never questioned me.
Amazing.
The same thing with Mel. The same thing with most of the actors I do. Is I put them in I put myself in their position. Because actors have a certain way of thinking, and it's good. Every time I do a fight, coordinator fight, I'll bring the actor in with me to get his input, because most of the time you're going to use it, unless you get these young kids that are just coming up and they don't know shit about anything. You do whatever they'll do whatever you tell them. Yeah. But a good actor has choices that he wants, and he knows what he wants.
Let me ask you. Let me ask you a question about another good actor somebody who I believe was one of the best, Alan Rickman, and how you got, because he's not a stunt guy, but Alan Rickman.
Alan Rickman. Wow. Yeah. He was fantastic.
Yeah. So when he fell off Nakatomi Tower, and I know that there's a story here because he actually fell, right? Like, he's not a stuntman.
I'll tell you what he did with that. What I got with Alan, I got him on a cherry picker. Cherry picker is a machine that goes up about maybe 25, 30 feet.
Yeah.
So I got him on the stage rehearsing with him, and I put an airbag down below, and I had Alan go from 10 feet just falling back into the airbag.
Yeah.
And I got him up, and he's a stage actor. He's not a guy that does physical stunts, but a really good actor. Yeah. You saw the movie. I mean, he pulled it off fantastic. So I got him up to 25, 30 feet falling backwards. So now it comes time to shoot it, and John McTiernan had a plate camera shooting down, and we had the Fox plane or the green screen and all that. Yeah. Blue screen, green screen, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. And Alan's on a carabiner. I got him on a quick release. Yeah. And the camera's shooting on his face. And I told Alan, we're going to let you go on 3, 2, 1, go. You go on go. And he's up there doing his acting thing. So I told my rigging guy, I said, let him go on 1. So we went 3, 2, 1, and Alan went, and he had that look on his face. And John did it about 5 or 6 times, but that's the one they used because he was shocked. Now after that, it's like a horse. When you say action in a movie, they know it's going to be action. Yeah. So he knew. But the first take, he had no idea when he was going. So Alan Rickman was really, really a fine actor, and he had a lot of balls for a stage actor to do that. A lot of actors won't do that. Yeah. You know?
Was he pissed at you, or was it that you dropped him on 1 instead of?
Oh no, no, because he knew it was a good reaction. He loved it. He loved
perfect. It. Oh, that's great. So one thing that I'd love to ask people when I have the opportunity is, I guess it's kind of like a 2-part question, but if you could go back in time, if you knew then what
I wish I could.
Right. Yeah, me too. If you knew then what you know now, what would you do differently breaking into the business?
If I knew now, then what I know now?
Yeah.
You know what? It's hard to say because I did a lot of acting, and I say to myself, should I have made that choice to be an actor?
Yeah.
Should I have stayed in television, directing more television? And I questioned myself about all those things. And I think if I go back, I think the things that I did, I think I made the right choices, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think I would change anything.
That's awesome.
You know, because I had a lot of fun doing what I did. Like I said, 27 years of television. And I learned so much just by staying in the camera. Yeah. And I was the kind of guy, like I said before, never left the camera. Even today, I go on a set and I'll start drifting off and get to the camera. So I don't think I would change a thing because I was so action oriented. I was always an action kid. I was in New York running around and doing stuff, and I did stunts that you can't even imagine, real.
Yeah.
So I always leaned toward the action part of it. So I think to answer your question, Michael, that I would have probably done the same thing. And again, I did a lot of acting. I could have made that choice. And what I did was, when I decided to direct, I said, I got to do something more because I'm working with actors now. So I went to the Beverly Hills Playhouse in the master class.
Yeah.
And I directed actors in there that were really good actors. And I acted myself. And, we used to have every week we'd have a scene come up with somebody, or just one of the students would direct the scene with actors. And I did that.
Yeah.
I learned a lot about acting, what the actors are looking for. And it helped. It helped a lot. It was at Beverly Hills Playhouse. Milton Casellas was the coach, and he had a lot of really good actors. The one from All in the Family, Doris, I forget her name, and a lot of other good actors. Yeah. They were really terrific.
Oh, that's cool. What's your so you've got this script that you're starting to shop around. Is it done? Like, is it a?
Well, it's done. I've had it for a few years. The only problem I have is that I just don't know I know how to make movies. And I'll make any movie you want. And I don't care what it is, I'll make it. Because I know enough about them. But I don't know how to raise money. And you know that issue.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's hard. I don't know anything about financing. People say, well, Bruce Willis, Mel Gibson. Yeah, but I'm not going to push myself on people like that.
Yeah,
because it doesn't work.
No, you don't do that anyways.
So I got to try and raise money. Right now, I got a guy out here that claims that he can get me distribution and get me financing. But I'm just starting out with him, and I don't know. I don't know if I look at his resume and he hasn't raised any money, but I'll try it. I'll try anything right now. And I can do with 5 million. And if I get 5 million, I can make it look like 20 million. Yeah. Because I'll use every bit of it in there. Yeah. I got all the locations already.
Yeah. Is it going to be a challenge because you're going back to the 60s? Is it going to be?
It will be a challenge because the town that I grew up in is still there, and there's still now it's changed quite a bit. And when I grew up, it was all Italians. Yeah. And now it's a mixture of Spanish people and Italians, so it's kind of a mixture. But a lot of the geography is still there. A lot of the stores are still there. There's a lot of Spanish stores, but there's a lot of Italian stores. Yeah, the park is still there. Spaghetti Park is the name of the movie. Yeah. It's a little triangular park where we used to hang out, and that's where everything happened. It was a hub of the town, and that's where everything happened. And we used to meet there and then go out on our adventures every week or whatever. And it's about the people that grew up there, me and my friends and my mother and all that. So it's kind of an interesting script. I think there's a spot for it in the industry now, and we'll see what happens. But I wrote a long time ago, and I put a lot of effort into it. I read books on directing, and I said, "What am I reading?" I said, "I know all about this, master, single, this, and that." But you have to know how to move cameras and all the equipment that they have today, with drones, with techno cranes, with all this stuff. You have to know about that, and I keep up on it all. Yeah. Years ago they just had a friggin' dolly with a crane on it, an arm on it, and now they have techno cranes that shoot out 50 feet with a with a hot head on it. They could do anything with it. I know about that. I work with drones. X7 is a great drone. You can do anything with it, like I wanted to do with you in the desert. Yeah. Now they had drones there, but now they have X7s which do anything. We can do the motorcycle. I don't have to have, camera cars chasing in the desert. Some of it, if we have the right roads, but most of it do drones because you can go anywhere with them. You see? Yeah. I can get on your face and pull back. I go around in a circle. Yeah. So these are things you have to know, and I still know them. So they say, wow, how old is Charlie Picerni? You think you can still do it? Yeah, I can still do it. Yeah, I can still do it. If you can't do the stunt, I'll do it. Yeah. That's how I am. Heart. You got to have a lot of heart. Yeah. So these are things that I learned from television. I learned by watching. A few years back, give you an example, 10 years ago, or maybe a little more. I'm living in Hidden Hills, California, and I had this kid living in the back. He was an actor, young kid, good-looking kid. He said, Charlie, can you do me a favor? We've got a thing at SC where I'm doing a scene. It's two director and a producer. I just graduated film school. They want to do this little short film. And there's a scene in there where the guy tied up a German and being interrogated, he gets out and there's a fight. I said, yeah, I'll come and help you out. So I go there and meet the two kids, the producer and director, really nice young kids. They just finished film school, 4 years. So I worked there, long story short, I worked all day with them and I was showing them lenses and how to shoot the lens, how to move the camera, how to do everything, cutting it all together. And after I was finished, the kids came up to me. And again, film school was great. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
But observation is better. They came to me and said, Charlie, we've been in film school for 4 years. We learned more today than we learned in 4 years. That was a compliment.
Yeah.
That was a real compliment. And I said, thank you so much. Where those kids are today, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I've worked with actors. I did a thing called, and I'm sorry to keep talking, but I will.
Yeah.
I did a thing with Ben Gazzara years ago called the Al Capone story.
Yeah.
Al Capone story. Susan Blakely, Ben Gazzara, Sylvester Stallone, which I did second unit on the movie. And then a young guy named Steve Carver, just out of SC. Big scene. Ben Gazzara, and I just pictured, there's a car at a curb. This is in the 40s, he's playing Al Capone. There's a car at a curb, camera shooting on Ben.
Yeah.
Shooting across the street. There's a big billboard with 5,000 squibs on it, machine gun bullets. And extras, here's a shot. And there's other cameras too, but here's a shot. So this is the main camera shooting across the, seeing Ben. Extras walking by. As the extras walk by a camera, they're on Ben now.
Yeah.
3 guys come out of a speakeasy. They come out as the extras are clear and they walk by the billboard and Ben opens fire. And all the squibs go off on the billboard and he shoots and kills the guys.
Yeah.
And I said to Steve Carver, the young guy, I said, Steve, it's best, these cues are very important. You call background, let the extras go. You call action for the stunt guys, let them come out. Let Ben take his own cue. When he sees the stunt guys on a certain point, let him fire and the rest is over. Yeah. He said, no, I'll do it myself, I'll cue him. I said, okay, this is God's honest truth. There was a little second AD, a little trainee was there, not a second, a trainee, little young girl. I said, honey, come here. And I was ready to go. 5,000 or more squibs on the billboard. I said, honey, come here, I want you to watch this. I put my hands on her shoulder. I said, you watch this. You're gonna learn something here that you should never do. And I just watch it and listen. Put hands on my shoulder. And Steve is rolling, okay, get ready, roll the cameras. He calls action. The extras start walking, Ben Gazzara starts shooting. Squibs going off, people running all over the set, and the little girl's like this watching. And he's going, and Steve Carver goes, cut, what the fuck is going on? Cut, Benny, what the fuck? And he's yelling at Ben Gazzara. Well, Ben Gazzara is a New York actor. He says, what are you talking about? He's cursing, you asshole, whatever. And he gets out of the car and he walks off the set. You called action, and they're arguing back and forth. And this little girl's like this. Steve Carver looked at me. I went, so again, here's a kid and then Steve might have gone on. I don't know what happened to him. He might have gone on from there. I don't hear much of him.
Yeah.
But you got to listen to people that know more than you about certain things. I'm not saying I was a better director than him, but I certainly know more about cues than you. So if you want to learn something, listen.
Yeah.
Listen. I worked with a guy years ago named one of the finest TV directors, and he did features also. What the hell was his name? He started as a male guy at MGM. Don Weiss. Don Weiss was brilliant. Brilliant. He did Starsky and Hutch. He did all the TV shows. He was a brilliant guy.
Yeah.
I met him, he was probably in the 60s, and I would do Starsky and Hutch, and he would do a lot of those shows. And I'm just starting out. Starsky and Hutch was my second big coordinating show, but it was a big show.
Yeah.
And Don was, okay, Charlie, lay the action out. And I'd get out there with the stunt guys. Okay, bring the car around here. And I get it all set up.
Yeah.
Cameras are all ready to go in there. And I sit down next to Don, the camera chair. I was like, Don, we're ready to go. He says, this is great. Isn't this a wonderful thing? When I see all this action, I get this thing all together, cut, and I see all this action happening on the screen, directed by Don Weiss. You know what he's saying? What he's saying is use the people that know what they're doing, and you're going to get the credit anyway.
Yeah.
You see? Isn't it great to see that action?
Yeah.
Not saying that I did it, but directed by Don Weiss.
Yeah.
Done. Rennie Harlan does Die Hard 2. We're doing Die Hard 2, and I did Ford Fairlane before with him. And the only reason why Joel hired him, he did Halloween, which was a horror movie. Got some recognition on that. So now he does Ford Fairlane, and Joel put some on Die Hard too.
Yeah.
And I try to help. So we're 2 weeks into the movie, and he's behind already. So Joel says, you got to go out and shoot second unit to me. Yeah. I said, fine, Joel, but give me some storyboards. He said, I don't have any storyboards. You read the script and go and shoot it. And Rennie says, I want to do my own action movie. I don't want to have any second units. And Joel says, we have to have second unit. I go out, and I got a crew, like I said before, with 200 people.
Yeah.
Flying all over the country looking for snow. That big snowmobile chase.
Yeah.
And long story short, I found snow because I had done Christmas vacation before that with Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
We're up in Colorado, so I told the production manager, Steve, I did this movie with Chevy Chase, it's Christmas vacation, and up in Breckenridge, there's a place called Tiger Run. There might be snow up in the mountains. Him and I go up and scout the location. There is snow. Yeah. And there was no snow in the country at that time, 1989 or whatever. The next day, we bring up a crew. He gets a crew together and brings it up there, and I'm shooting second unit. And I went on to shoot second unit for 70 days of first and second unit. Do you know how much film that is?
Yeah.
I directed more than half the movie. Now I don't care about that because when I see what I did, I don't care about the credit. Rennie Harlan took the credit and he's still directing bullshit shows from that movie.
Wow.
And I saw what I did, my accomplishment. I said, wow, that come out great. And I was doing up in Breckenridge, I was doing ILM at that time was like CGI, ILM. Yeah. I was doing plate cameras and I was doing all the action. It was a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And a guy named Frank Colgate. Frank was the DP, and he had his hands full, but we got it together.
Yeah.
And when I went back to the studio, a guy named Stuart Baird was a film editor, great editor, probably still at Warner Brothers. It was great. Pain in the ass at times, but he was great. He would let me in the cutting room. He said, without this film, this movie would not be made.
Wow.
He said that. He wouldn't let Rennie Harlan in the cutting room. He said, this guy don't know what he's doing. So again, I don't care if you quote me because I want people in this business that know what the hell they're doing. And he doesn't.
Yeah.
He has no idea what he's doing. And I'll challenge him on anything. And after that movie, he did Cliffhanger, which by the way, was a pretty good movie. But anyway, that's what I did on Die Hard. So that was a big achievement for me.
Yeah.
That movie was with Vic Morrow and two little Oriental kids. And I was interviewed for that. They called me up at 4:00 in the morning to go downtown Hollywood, and I did an interview with David Hartman on that. What he's asking what happened. Well, I knew what happened. I'm not about to tell you what happened because I know all about it.
Yeah.
The same thing happened to me in Hawaii with the helicopter pilot.
Yeah.
Basically, what happened, I won't tell you the whole story. My nephew, Chuck, was hired for that movie to go for an interview. The production manager wouldn't use him, and he used this other guy. Who do you think that guy was?
Same guy?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Same guy I did in Hawaii. So when Steve, whatever his name was, the director, what the hell was his name? Jerk. He's a jerk.
Steve the Jerk. We'll just call him Steve the Jerk.
The Jerk. What was his name? He did Animal House. John Landis.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was a jerk. He was a complete jerk. So when he was out there in Indian Dunes up in California, and he's yelling to the helicopter, come down lower, come down lower. Well, my nephew would have never came down lower because you got pyrotechnics going off, a bomb blowing up, hit the rotor, and the helicopter goes out of control, goes down, and 3 kids are dead, 2 kids are dead, and Vic Morrow. Oh. Now, I can tell you more detail what happened, but I didn't say that. I said it was just an error. I didn't go into all that. There's more to it. So these are things that happen in the business when you learn what not to do and what to do.
Yeah.
Now, there were some times when I made some mistakes, but not like that.
Yeah.
Not like that.
Wow. Let me switch gears on you a little. What's your favorite meal to make?
But my favorite what?
Meal to make.
My favorite meal?
Yeah, you cook, right?
To eat?
Yeah.
What is a favorite meal for Italians? It's always pasta, right?
Yeah.
And there's so many different dishes in pasta. I like all kinds of. I like pasta with fish. I like any kind of pasta, except pasta with heavy. I don't like a heavy pasta.
But
that's my favorite. I guess and pizza. You know what else?
So what are you? You're living in Atlanta now?
I'm living in Atlanta now. I'm not happy because why I'm not happy? I'm okay. I mean, it's okay. But what happened was I miss California, but California is not like it was. What I miss is what I had. What I'm telling you now about all the years, that all happened to California.
Yeah.
And I had some great years. So what you miss is that, and you can't get that back.
What's your guilty pleasure? What's the one thing that you just like to do for Charlie?
What do I dislike to do?
No, what do you like to do that's just for Charlie? Like if you're sitting there by yourself or, you know, you need to unwind, what's the Charlie Picerni thing? Is it a great cigar? Is it a glass of scotch? Is it a good book? Is it
I don't drink. I don't smoke cigars anymore. Years ago, we tried that shit, but that's no good. You know, my thing is I got 2 little dogs. I have animals all my life. And I think of my animals all my life, all the ones that I had.
Yeah.
I wish I had them with me now. I used to go hunting a lot with my one favorite dog, and he's gone now. Oh. So I have 2 little dogs now, little Louie and little Cupcake, and they're my life, and my wife naturally. And that's what I look forward to, just sitting back with them.
Nice.
You know, a lot of people have done a lot of things in their lives. I've done so many things in my life. I've traveled all over, not all over the world, but I've traveled Australia, Europe, Budapest, Hungary, you know, all that places, Italy, France, England. I've traveled a lot and I've done a lot of things in my life and I miss it all. So when you have that, it's hard to get that back again.
Yeah.
So to sit back and say, you know, when I was doing that, that was in my glory.
Yeah.
I would say, okay, I'm working so hard. I think this weekend I'll take my dog out and go hunting birds.
Yeah.
I go hunt birds, I go fishing with my friend in San Diego. I look forward to that.
Yeah.
I don't have that to look forward anymore because I don't have it anymore. I moved out. They pushed me out. That's why I hate those politicians. They ruined the state that I was happy in.
Yeah.
They ruined it. Anyway, Atlanta is all right. I mean, where I'm living now in Peachtree City is a half hour south of Atlanta. It's a nice place, beautiful.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's pretty quiet, so I'm not used to that. If I, you know, years ago, I'd go to Beverly Hills for dinner. I go to Hollywood. I go, you know, all over.
Yeah.
And I went through all this stuff, which I don't miss. I had Ferraris, I had Rolls Royces, I had everything. I had 10 cars at one time, 2 Ferraris, a Rolls Royce, Corniche. I had it all. So that thing, you know, I didn't do it for the material thing. I just did it to have fun with.
Yeah.
And I don't have, if I don't want to get another Ferrari, it doesn't matter. I had it. I went through it.
Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah.
You know, and my wife is not like that. She doesn't not into that stuff. So, you know, I look back and I miss it, but what I'm looking forward to now, if I direct my movie, because what I would do then is I would bring everything back that I had, would make it, and the people that live back there are still back there, younger people, some are older, and they want to see it. I can make that the lives come together again. I can make it happen again.
Right on.
And that's my ambition now to do that. My whole thing.
Well, Charlie, this has been just an amazing hour with you. I can't.
Too long. You're not going to use it all.
No, not all of it. This has been so much fun for me, and it's just so great to reconnect with you. And
well, you know what? When you speak to people that have been around a long time and love what they do and have a passion for it and makes sense, it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting to listen to people that know what they're doing. I can go on and on. I have more stories than you can imagine.
Oh, I know.
Sitting down with Bob Urich when I did the Vegas shows and sitting down with Telly and talking to him.
Yeah.
And some crazy things that I won't talk about, but you know, I did everything. You name it, I did it.
That's awesome.
I did it.
Well, I would, I don't know if you'd be up for this or not, but I would love to read your script.
Do what?
I would love to read your script.
You would?
I would. Yeah.
I'll send it to you. I'll have Nancy do that.
That would be amazing. I'd love that.
Whatever you want, call me, Mike, and I'll send it to you.
Will do. Thank you, Charlie. Take care and give my best to Nancy.
Thank you so much.
Tell her to break legs.
All right.